Week 3, almost in the books. This is the PFF Forecast. We are going to do a couple things. We're going to do takeaway from today's games. We're going to talk about the game of the week and maybe the year, which is Kansas City-Baltimore on Monday Night Football. And then we're going to guess the lines and pick our favorites. So, let's rock. All right.
You're on the other side.
I am on the other side. I am really bad at fondling the microphone. And I'm hoping, because I'm left-handed, that
You're a weird left-handed, though, because you're right-handed when you play sports.
True.
You're like the opposite of Ken Griffey.
Exactly. I also broke the living hell out of my left arm.
So you adapted.
And so I've adapted, yeah. Facing adversity, I adapted. Speaking of, actually, facing adversity and adapting, that ties into my big takeaway from this week. Do you want me to just go first?
Go first.
I'll just go first. Okay. My big takeaway this week is that Kyle Shanahan is a motherfucking wizard. That dude took a junior varsity team that was decimated by injury in MetLife Stadium, which is a danger zone of epic proportion. He took that team, they went to West Virginia, spent a few days in West Virginia, brought him back to New York, and then proceeded to absolutely obliterate everything that is, or was, I should say, the New York Giants, Joe Judge and Jason Garrett's team. That was a disaster. And I like to say that I predicted it. Let me just throw this out there. They averaged 8.2 yards per pass play with Nick Mullins and whoever the hell else was out there. Brandon Ayuk was the only player anyone could name on the Niners offense. And they were over 8 yards per pass play. Not per pass attempt, per pass play. Includes sacks. I'm not sure that that there's anyone better than him right now.
Yeah, Nick Mullins' ADOT was what?
Not a lot.
Yeah, it was 8.4, but his average yards per pass attempt was 9.3. Now, the Giants suck, and their defense is bad and all that kind of stuff. And, after the way the Vikings played, they, covered the number against Tennessee. The Giants are firmly second worst in the league behind the Jets. But it was an amazing, and we talked about this on the betting podcast last night. That number got down to 3. Eventually, Greenline showed an edge on it. It was a good play. It's a rare one where, the number more sort of moves into playable territory near the end. But I think people got too overzealous about the Giants. And San Francisco did great, and they stopped the run, right? The Deion Lewis under was something we gave, and now he didn't give you guys anything. But the thing about it is they were still very disciplined defensively. I mean, the Giants don't not have weapons, and yet the 49ers were able to do fine with. I mean, who was it? It was like Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett at cornerback.
Yeah, the ghost. Jason Verrett.
And Fred Warner's a terrific player. They still have Kinlaw, and they still have good players on that defense, but it was decimated, and they still did really well. It'll be interesting to see what they do against a really good football team.
Yeah, well, that's not happening this week. But here's the other kind of part of that, which is, so the Seahawks escape. They're now 3-0, but the Rams lose, and the Arizona Cardinals lost, and it really didn't look very good, right? And the Lions or whatever. So now the Niners, despite losing the Cardinals in week 1, despite getting decimated by injury, because Kyle Shanahan just goes out and coaching wins above replacement through the roof, they're still in it. They're not dead. So that's my takeaway. What's yours?
My takeaway is that every single team in the NFC, even the really good ones, are extremely flawed. So take Seattle. So we're watching Seattle Dallas, and that's a phenomenal football game and a tremendous effort by both teams. Extremely fun to watch, and if you bet on over, you got over, and all this kind of stuff.
And I'm assuming you're bringing them up because you think they're the best team in the NFC.
Well, no, I mean, so you said San Francisco's 2-1 right now. Seattle's 3-0. I look at those two teams, and neither one has a defense. Dallas and the Seattle, but I do think that they're in the mix for the best team in the NFC.
Green Bay.
I think Green Bay and New Orleans are also in position there. I think New Orleans gets Michael Thomas back, and things could possibly change.
The New Orleans Alvin Kamara's.
Yeah, well, but then Green Bay certainly is in that conversation. But it's not as though, I mean, the Saints put up 30 points on them, and while self-destructing a number of times, in the red zone, fumbling with Taysom Hill. You look at some other sort of sub-dominant teams. So Arizona, we've talked about sort of the flaws in Arizona basically all the time, and it came to fruition with the Detroit Lions beating them outright, as we said earlier this morning. And then, previously that was our lock of the week last week. Tampa Bay, similar things, right? Brady, there are tons of plays where I look in and I say, well, if they're winning these games with Brady not making these throws, imagine when he makes them. But there's no guarantee that actually ever happens, right? So again, they're a very flawed team. The 49ers are just, injury riddled, but that doesn't mean they're bad, right? And I almost said St. Louis Rams. The Los Angeles Rams today showed that their defense isn't all that great. I mean, Josh Allen had his way again, despite a lot of mistakes. So when I look at the NFC, I see a free-for-all, right? And whichever team, and right now the front runners look like Green Bay and Seattle, whichever one of those two teams ends up with the 1 seed is probably not going to be that much better than anybody else in the conference, but they're going to get that huge Super Bowl probability as a result. No,
it's a really good point, and we kind of talked about this last week.
I didn't even say Chicago's 3-0, but fuck them, they're bad.
We didn't even talk about, Nick Foles brings a whole new...
Nick Foles was Jim McMahon-like today. Honestly, like he had that visor, and Jim McMahon was the old Bears. He's the only Bears quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl. He wore number 9. He had a visor, and was every bit like that throw he made to Anthony Miller was the gutsiest thing I've ever seen from a quarterback. I mean, he took it right. He
has
in the
like
chin.
10 of those. Over the past years.
And look, like Foles is going to probably, I don't even know how much he's made, but that I'll estimate he'll probably make over $100 million as an NFL quarterback based upon what we just saw today, which is coming off the bench for a guy who's dead in Trubisky. And bless the Falcons. I feel bad for them, honestly. We liked them early in the week, and then weirdly,
terrible.
Green line liked Chicago at 4, at 3.5, and then a little bit on the money line, and then a bunch of money came in on the Bears right before kickoff today, pushed that line to 2.5.
Well, it's because people were watching the PFF live show. They saw me switch my pick with the Julio news. Shrewdly.
So this is the interesting thing, because we always think about, okay, so our printed picks went 1 and 2, but like how are we gauging? Because we printed Tennessee minus 1.5. Now they don't cover, they win by 1. The close at 2.5. There's a point of line value. We printed Cincinnati plus 6.5. Now that got to the window, closed at 5.5, 6. It was kind of bouncing back and forth. It got to 4 by Saturday. Again, that's like the value in doing this. If you bet the Bengals at plus 6.5 and it gets to 4 and you don't like the bet anymore, you can sort of go to the other side. The same thing's true about so we had the Atlanta minus 3. It gets out to 4. I placed a small bet on the Bears plus 4 when it got there because I didn't like Atlanta when I saw all these injuries. So that's the nice part about doing this now is
a little bit of flexibility.
The line movement gives you a chance to get off games when information happens.
What you're not mentioning is that the lock of the week, now 3-0. We're off to a really hot start, and that means that it's time that things are going to come tumbling down very soon.
This was the first straight bet that we did. The first 2 were teasers.
I thought, yeah.
The only teasable one actually ended up getting home, which was the Rams. You could have teased them up to like 7.5, 8.5, depending upon where you got the number. They were down 28-3. You're like, oh, I would have. They ended up covering the teaser line, but not the original line.
That was a crazy game.
There weren't a number of teaser opportunities this week, though.
I'm excited to talk about both those teams when we get there. Let's spend a few minutes on the Monday night game. Kansas City now plus 3.5, minus 120, so basically plus 3. We talked about them at 3 last Sunday, got out to 3.5. Is there anything that happened today? Watching other teams that played because they both played the Texans. That Kansas City kind of kept it close with the Chargers, obviously, who just lost to Carolina, and then the Ravens, dismantled the Cleveland Browns, who beat a non-existent football team.
Well, Washington played hard today. They just suck.
Yeah,
They did, though. I mean,
I agree with you. Dwayne Haskins gave them no shot to win.
They had a lead in the third quarter.
Dwayne Haskins gave him no shot to win the game. So, I mean, has anything really changed there in terms of how you feel about this game?
Talking about Kansas City, Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, like, does seeing the Chargers lose to Carolina change the way you feel about the Chiefs?
No. See, here's my thing. I think that this game has a huge chance to be like the game we just watched with either New Orleans, Green Bay, or Seattle, Dallas. And in both of those games, the team that won had the better offense. You know, like the Saints. So, like, did the Saints play crappy defense on Sunday Night Football? I don't think so. They got a 4th down stop. They gave up a fumble, the dumbass Taysom Hill play, and then they held it to a field goal. Like they did everything you could possibly imagine a modern defense do against a good modern offense.
Yep. And Aaron Rodgers just made
so when I look at this game tonight, I look at Kansas City plus 3.5, and I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the offense that performs better, and for my money, it's Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know, like, right? Because the transitivity of all this kind of stuff is a little bit silly to sort of work through because, the Chargers actually legitimately played a good game against them, but that you get all this time off. You get to play a drastically different type of defense, which is a man scheme without their best player in the middle of the field, against a pass rush that needs a lot of supplementary rushers to get pressure. And I think it's a totally different game for Mahomes. I mean, the Los Angeles Chargers don't need more than 4 guys to get home. And, Carolina matched up really well with them because their receivers are quick and they're sort of in that crossers thing. And frankly, Bridgewater, did a great job of getting the ball out of his hands really quickly, and it really hurt them. And then the Chargers did what the Chargers do, which is make mistakes. And they made mistakes early in the game in this game as opposed to at the end of the game against the Chiefs.
I've thought about this game a million different ways. The speed that the Chiefs have is going to cause a few problems for the Ravens. But here's the biggest thing. So right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are 15th in the NFL in EPA per pass play on 1st and 2nd down. Okay, that is the lowest they've been since Mahomes has been there. But Baltimore, and this I think is interesting, Baltimore's 10th. But Baltimore has been trouncing teams. They're playing really well. And to me, this is indicative of how these two teams have played. The Ravens' results have been spectacular, and maybe the process isn't as great as we think it is. The Kansas City Chiefs, the results have been whatever, and everyone thinks, oh man, they really aren't playing very well. And I kind of agree with you. They're not. There's a lot of room for them to get back to where they should be. And that to me is the kind of the big thing here. We're buying Kansas City at sort of the bottom of the market, selling Baltimore at the top. And I just think about Patrick Mahomes, how much. So here's the last thing I'll say about it. Lamar Jackson has a ton of experience winning games the whole way through.
Yep.
He doesn't have a lot of experience winning games after losing them the whole way through.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes does. And in games that are closely contested, you should expect, as you like to say, a lot of sample paths where a team can be down. So to me, the Kansas City Chiefs have a little bit more bulletproofness to them, and they're getting.
Let's talk about some nitty gritty betting things here. Okay. So right now, this thing opened.
Oh yes, I'll bet it live.
1.5. Right.
The Chiefs are down 17-0.
But at this time last week, well, maybe not this time last week, but this time, like 8 days ago, this number was shy of 3. 1.5, 2, 2.5. Got to 3. Got out to 3.5. We've seen, and again, like, we're not the ones betting tens of thousands, $20,000s of dollars on these
speak
games.
For yourself.
Yeah. But now that the limits are basically full right now, all we've seen is this price move towards the Chiefs. And do you think that that's real, or do you think it's like a set? Because I don't see it as a setup, because if this number got to Baltimore -3, -115, -110, whatever, there's not like that middle there, right? There's not like not. So
do you think it could cross 3?
No, I would imagine, like, because the issue is you, as a book, you don't want to cross 3 because, I mean, I would take, look, I'm a Chiefs fan, but I'd take the Ravens -2.5 after I've got a ton on Chiefs plus 3.5.
So would I.
So, like, they're just raising the price. But what this seems to be indicating to me, again, I'm not the one moving this number, but, like, what it indicates to me that the Kansas City Chiefs are the right side. And I don't know necessarily, I mean, we show like a 1% edge on plus 3.5 if you're getting -110. At -120, there's no value there, right? Because every time you go up 10 cents, it's another percent or so that you need. And like for me, I just think, okay, now that there's sort of like haze in the barn here, it's clear to me that Kansas City's the right side. Do you see that changing at all before kickoff? Like, what could change? Could it be Charvarius Ward playing? Could it be?
I have a feeling that there will be some threes out there tomorrow. Maybe when you're listening.
And I think you can buy it too. I mean, but yeah,
sure. But I'm saying just I think there will be some threes,
which would represent the fact that the Chiefs are the side. Once you get a lot of people having sort of the same view that we have, which is Mahomes catching more than a field goal is an atrocity.
I'm with you. So, will you save? Are you going to bet all the money that you plan to bet on this game before the game?
Well, no. I mean, like, here's the thing: we have a player props tool at PFF, and like, just let me tell you about like sort of like the orders of magnitude here. For somebody like us who bet about the same amount on a prop that we would on a side, maybe twice as much on a side, there were 16 playable props on just the Sunday Night Football game, and that went 11-5, up 6 units. Like, there aren't 16 playable bets on sides and totals on Greenline. So, like, when the sides and totals come out, and you can look at the props, that are up currently, and there's a decent amount of them for tomorrow night's game. Like, there's some stuff with some value here. I mean,
I'm feeding whole families of 7 with my props.
Yeah,
just feeding.
Well, tonight we liked Breeze over 2.5 touchdowns at plus 150. We like the same for Wilson and
the Rodgers rushing prop was.
Yeah, that was nice. The Latavius Murray receiving prop could have got there, but he was about 4 yards short. But Mahomes passing touchdown prop is 2.5, over is plus 150. I would take that.
Yep,
currently.
So go to pff.com, check out the props tool, and we'll do a little pre-Monday night,
as we always do. Yep.
Teaser. So let's move on to week 4, which, man,
there's a reason we spent a ton of time on tonight's game.
These are brutal, absolutely brutal. So we're gonna start off with there really is no like. There's one very good game, and we just talked about one of those teams. So this is the Wagyu section of week 4. It is New England at Kansas City. Cam versus Patrick Mahomes. I'm very excited for this game, just because Belichick is so brilliant, defensively. And we still haven't seen, Kansas City this week. They'll be on a short week. It'll be in Kansas City. I don't know if there's a lineup for this, but I have Kansas City as a 5.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I sent so just truth be told, I sent you the look aheads last week, so I kind of knew this one ahead of time. I said it would be 7.
Okay,
and that seems to be what it is.
So you're a cheater.
Well, no,
it's fine.
I wanted to produce some content for the last show.
Right.
Yeah. But that's one I knew ahead of time. It's 7, right? It's still 7? That's what I guessed.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on 7?
I think the Chiefs are going to win tonight, and they're going to play down to their opponent. And I would take the 7 with New England any day of the week.
Yeah, so would I. I don't see it on BetChris.
Yeah, it's not there currently. But I've seen it at 7 some places.
Right. I mean, I'm there with you. I would take 7, obviously. I have it at 5.5. So to me, Cam Newton is one of those guys where he played meh today. Like really meh. Wasn't great.
He went under his rushing prop, which we talked about.
Yeah. And, they trounced the hapless Raiders. So, Cam Newton gives you such a high floor when he's healthy. So I really like Patriots.
But I also think that they do something that the Chiefs struggle with, which is like a power running game, like on defense. Like I think they can slow the game down, and the only thing that I feel like would be to their detriment would be that they don't rush the passer well. So Mahomes is going to have all day. Those receivers are going to have a ton of time. But if you look at some of like the fundamentals here, you have Belichick, you have one more day of rest. You have the Chiefs kind of in a letdown situation, although they'll never be let down by playing, in New England. But New England's no longer what it represented. The Chiefs beat them last year, so it's sort of not the biggest game in the world.
It's not the Ravens.
Yeah, and so all of that, I would say, grab the 7 if you can now, and then maybe once it gets down maybe to 6.5 or something, reevaluate.
Yeah, I love 7. I'm happy that's what it is. If I can find it tonight, I'll bet it. All right, that's the only really good game that we have. Next duo.
You and I disagree here.
There is no chance in hell that there is a great game left on this slate.
Pittsburgh at Tennessee.
Stop.
It's a good game.
Stop.
Pittsburgh.
It's a good game, and that's why it's in the next section, which are good games. But great games, Eric, make it into the first section.
But hold on. Pittsburgh is 3-0. They have a Hall of Fame quarterback. And a great defense.
Okay.
Even though they gave up 21 to Deshaun. And Tennessee is 3-0 and 0-3 against the spread, by the way.
Right.
And have some legitimately great talent on their team. If A.J. Brown plays in this game, he's the best wide receiver on the field. Jonnu Smith is has turned himself into a pretty damn good tight end.
I'd say amazing. Okay, we're done.
And Derrick Henry is
we're done.
A load.
We're not putting Pittsburgh, Tennessee in the same group as New England, Kansas City.
Well, let's talk about it then.
But we can put it in the next
What
one.
did you think the number would be?
I have Tennessee at home favored by 3.5.
I said 2.5.
Ooh.
And it is 1.
Wow. Really?
And
interesting.
But after watching these games today, I took Pittsburgh. Small, early. I got it at 1.5 actually. But
man,
my thing about Tennessee is they can't play defense. The Minnesota Vikings really, really had their way with them.
Okay.
And I feel like now, this is how bad the Vikings are. Hey, by the way, if you're listening today and you want another Vikings rant, you're not going to get one. They played a representative game today. They still melted down at the end, and they're horrible.
This is kind of a mini rant.
Yeah, but I'm not. They might reach 28 on my list, but Tennessee beat them by kicking a bunch of field goals, running a really terrible Kirk Cousins interception back, and getting it called back, and then having to punt. It was Tennessee. I don't know if I can back them against the number right now because their point differential is +6 and they've won 3 games.
Okay, so I'm going to get to why I understand where you're coming from, but this was going to be my reasoning for Tennessee and why I think I will take them as short favorites. First and second down passing, they are the most efficient.
They're great
team. Now, number 2, I will mention my Niners. Kyle Shanahan.
Even though they were butt cheeks in week 1 too.
Wizard.
Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers are 21st.
I don't know if the Steelers are good offensively.
So here's my thing with Tennessee. Now, I know Deontay Johnson went out with a concussion. Tennessee goes into Minnesota. Minnesota has been bad. Yeah. Really bad, right? So they go into that game and they go, okay, we're going to beat this team and then we're going to go play Pittsburgh, and that's going to be a big game. And, there's a certain bit of that letdown. The Vikings are playing for their lives in this game. I mean, for their lives.
They're the first team in league history to have a 175-yard rusher and a 175-yard receiver and still lose. They're finding ways.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Kirk didn't play awful. We're
not doing the Minnesota thing. But I think this game is fascinating. Because Tennessee, you're right. So they don't get a ton of pressure, right? That's an area where they struggle. Obviously, Big Ben, not as mobile as he used to be. If Deontay Johnson comes back, they do have 3-ish receivers, right? Man, here's what worries me. What worries me is that Pittsburgh's defense does have a great pass rush. And what we saw last year from Ryan Tannehill is that he took sacks on a higher percentage of dropbacks where he was pressured than any other quarterback. And I could see that happening here.
Yep.
I could. So
yeah.
that's why
well,
I
and that's the thing is like,
on this
and the hard part is that you can't run some of the things that the Tennessee wants to run.
Right. If you have TJ Watt continuously.
Because you can't slow that. You have to basically get them to slow down a little bit, which you can't. I mean, the Vikings defense was rushing upfield today, and they got that slowed down by running play action and stuff. But Tannehill's got to hit the guys too. I mean, his interception he threw to Harrison Smith was an absolute train wreck. So.
So bad.
And they and again, Khalif Raymond played good. He had 100 yards on 3 targets. I mean, he was fine. But when I look at this, I think to myself, okay, Tennessee at some point has to be found out, or they have to get better. And I think A.J. Brown helps them get it better. I think
I think he could
getting Adoree Jackson back helps them get better. But aside from that, like, they don't produce pressure that much. They don't tackle the best in the world. I was pretty heavy on first quarter over, first half over in that game. I think, Pittsburgh's defense being at what it is, it might be a place to look for a total. 47.5 is, I think, pretty short here. So
yeah, it's interesting. Which one of these quarterbacks do you have more faith in?
I think I know what I'm getting with Big Ben more, but I don't think that the ceiling is higher, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Neither of them are Nick Mullins, though.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's true. Not on early downs. That's for sure.
I am curious I think A.J. Brown, this game is really close, and whether A.J. Brown is playing, to me, matters, and here's why. A.J. Brown is a yards after the catch monster. We saw Corey Davis running in quicksand today.
Yeah.
And if A.J. Brown, if you're going to have success against that pass rush, you're going to need to get some quick throws out to A.J. Brown. Okay. And now if he tries to play and he's not 100%, that's another, worry. And then you have them leaning on, Derrick Henry the whole game and catastrophe.
The Pittsburgh defense allowed 0 second half points today to the Houston Texans, but a lot of that was that they just controlled the ball the whole time. They did only score 28 points on a really bad Houston defense. But I would say, I don't know, we talked about this on Wednesday. If you got in on Tennessee, Minnesota over 45.5, the thing closed at 49.5, 50. You might, although it looks like this is shaded to under, wait on this maybe a little bit till it gets to 47 and then maybe go over. I don't know. There's not a lot stopping overs in the NFL right now.
There's actually nothing. There's literally nothing. Yeah. And now the refs are in on it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was going to be the only game in the second rung, but I've included another one.
Okay, let me guess which one it is.
Go ahead.
Indy, Chicago?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Let's just say I let my bias.
Oh, San Francisco, Philly?
Yes, because it's on Sunday night. Because it's on Sunday night. But I think this is an interesting one. The reason I put it in here is because I think guessing the number is really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe that Jimmy G will be back for this game.
Okay.
And I have San Francisco as now this was before the Philly special, which was horrendous. You are 0-2. What are you playing for a tie for?
Doug has there been a coach that's lost more?
Just tail between the legs.
Respect, man. From
if I owned a football team, and I don't right now, but if I did, I would be on the field. I would have taken over at that point. Mm-hmm. They'd also sacked Joe Burrow 8 times in that game, and were still so worried about him missing a kick. Unbelievable. I have San Francisco before these games. I thought it might have been closer between them and the Giants. 7.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I said 7.
What is it?
It's 5.5.
Oh,
to me, here's the thing I don't get. What is the worst? God,
I can't wait.
Where is the line? So
you know where the line is? Way to the right of wherever the Carson Wentz is right now.
Because I want to know the defense that would struggle against Carson Wentz. Would the Vikings defense struggle against Carson Wentz?
If the defense was made up of his own offensive players trying to play offense, it would still stop.
Because I'm trying to look at this, because we had Cincinnati last week. We faded the hell out of the Eagles, and then that number got to a point.
Carson Wentz.
Because Wentz at 65 yards on the ground, he went over his prop, by the way. Miles Sanders had 18 carries for 95 yards. That's more than 5 yards per carry clip.
Let me give you a stat that sums up Carson Wentz.
Do shit.
Let me sum it up for you. Pre-grading review. So this is subject to change, but I don't think it will. Carson Wentz has 11 turnover-worthy plays. Okay. Now, that sounds pretty bad, but it's worse. Dwayne Haskins, also known as Dwayne Askins from his play today, has 6. Carson Wentz is playing very poorly the game of football. And Doug Peterson, as you said, it seems like they're just not on the same page very, very clearly. I don't really think that they've got the horses to take advantage of this depleted, even if they were on the same page, this depleted San Francisco 49ers defense. And this is going to be another Kyle Shanahan special.
Yeah.
My goodness, I'm excited.
So you're going to lay how much should you lay here?
Anything under 7.
Okay. That seems to make sense to me. Wow, Gloria. Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. It looks really bad.
Yeah, it's
like, is there any reason to think they're better than the Giants?
No, my question is like, because the Niners are simply, pretty like fragile, right? Mm-hmm. What's the worst defense? Because the Bengals are legitimately one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and they surrendered the 23 points, and some of that was turnover. Some of that was like the touchdown to Greg Ward at the end of the first half was the coverage was illegal in like 7 states.
I am of the belief that the Eagles are going to miss a lot of tackles in this game.
So, and do the Niners get more healthy in this game?
Well, they can't get less healthy.
Well, they can, but yeah, I mean,
but they didn't.
Do they get McKinnon?
Who got injured today?
Okay, so then do they get
Raheem the Dream?
Do they get Debo?
Debo's eligible to come back.
I mean, because that's Kittle, Jimmy. Okay, all right. I think we found something we like here.
Man,
I hate laying this big of a number, but at the same time, like
I was tired last week. I am.
You're
juiced up today. I'm juiced. Probably.
I see 6 at my book, and I'm still gonna take
probably
it.
Because I'm putting kids through college with my prop bets today. You're welcome. All right. Now we're into the section of almost spam. Buffalo in Las Vegas. This is where Josh Allen thrives. I have the Las Vegas Raiders as 3.5-point underdogs at home. What did you think?
Yeah, I said 4.
Ooh, and it is 2.5. Explain this to me.
I think people like the Raiders,
even after seeing the performance today.
But people weigh defense too much. Defense matters. Doesn't matter as much as people think. And the Bills were hot garbage today.
Yeah, because Sean McVay was just in his
but
bag.
People don't think that way.
That's
right?
true.
Like and the Raiders have had their days, right? Mm-hmm. They're just like 7 days removed from having beaten the Saints on Monday Night Football in their own
building.
Jared
Goff, number 3 graded passer so far.
Yeah.
That's
what I think people think. They're like, okay, well, the Raiders will put up a fight here because they have a good offense, and Josh Allen's liable to make some poor decisions. I like Buffalo minus 2.5. If you're, I mean,
this was a situation last year where I would have said the better quarterback is at home getting points for Derek Carr. That is not even close to the case. Josh Allen, as a passer, this is getting rid of the runs, the design runs, is the 6th highest graded quarterback. 6. That's incredible. I know that he's got, a few dropped interceptions. I understand that. He still has those bouts of inaccuracy. But like, if we're going to trust our grading, like, he is by far the better quarterback in this game. Stephon Diggs is by far the best.
Who's going to cover
receiver in this
Stephon
game.
Diggs for the Raiders?
No one. They could put the entire team on Stephon
Who's
Diggs
going
and
to tackle?
still be wide open.
Dude, here's a hot take. Devin Singletary is, well, how many percentage points worse than Josh Jacobs?
What's the difference?
There's not that much of a difference. He's great.
Yeah.
Good tackle breaker.
Yeah. So less than 3. I love the Bills here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Man, this is beautiful. Okay, Minnesota. Wow, I said that really weird. I'm going to try it again. Minnesota is in Houston.
You got to extend that O a little bit, dude.
So,
yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
It's like, it's kind of Nealish, but
this
not
is
Neal.
bad. I'm sorry. I apologize for my behavior. Minnesota visits Houston, and this is really do or die time for
Both teams.
Houston Texans here.
Who has a better chance of making it out of the, as the Bible would call it, the miry clay? Here.
I think it's the Houston Texans. I think the Texans are going to be favored by 5.5 in this game. It's definitely lower now.
I bet this a week ago at 3.5, and it's 4 now.
Okay.
So.
I probably, man. This is a get right game for Deshaun Watson. That's what this is. This is. Let me tell you how this game goes. Deshaun Watson. 375 through the air. Will Fuller, 230, 3 touchdowns.
They played such a good first half today.
I know.
And if they would have scored a mere field goal in the second half, they would have covered. Or like pushed, I guess.
Brutal. And Will Fuller's going to go off. I think Minnesota gave it everything they had today and lost. And
they're also not a good road team. The Vikings have always
been not a good team.
Yeah, but historically, even Dennis Green's Vikings were horse shit on the road. So like they're I say it's Houston or nothing here.
I'm with you. Wow, we're in a lot of agreement. That can only mean bad things.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, as the poor guy, has had to face the Kansas City Chiefs opening night, the Baltimore Ravens, and then this ridiculous Pittsburgh defense, just blitzing like 53% of the time, getting pressure like 50% of the time.
Their average
TJ
opponent's
Watt,
like 5 points better than the average against the point spread. So.
By far the hardest schedule. Okay, next game, New Orleans at Detroit. Detroit, our lock of the week this week. Not only did they cover, they won outright, and you called it on the show today, which was a bold move.
It's bold.
I have Detroit at home as a 4.5 point underdog to the Alvin Kamara led Saints.
Yeah, I said it would be 6, but that was before I saw the
Alvin Kamara,
the travesty of today.
What is it?
I believe we're at. I think it's what, 5.5.
I don't see it anywhere.
Okay. Let me look somewhere else. Let me look in the dark webs here.
Okay.
Fine. I think it's 5.5.
While you look, I will say that Alvin Kamara is
It's 3.5 now.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Interesting. You cut me off. I was saying that Alvin Kamara is not only the coolest player in the NFL,
Yeah, he's sweet.
he's also he is the best running back in the NFL.
So you're willing to plant the flag.
I am planting the flag
on the side of Kamara being special.
Oh my God, dude, he's insane. He was that entire offense.
He was.
He's ridiculous. He's so shifty, super smart. Man, I love that guy. He has more yards after the catch than any other running back has yards, period. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that. So what do you think of this game? Because I don't like. I mean, I think at 6 I would have been fine to take Detroit, but now it's like.
Is Drew Brees done? Because for 4 or 5 drives, it really looked bad, and then he kind of got things together. You know, you push it downfield a few times.
I think the gig is up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because here's the thing. To me, it boils down to this. And I'm going to get a little football-y here, so if I fuck something up, I'm sorry. But he's, to make up for his arm strength, he's got to be so confident in what each player is doing. And without Michael Thomas, that takes away a ton of certainty, right? Because that option route from the slot is just money. And it's one of those things where when you have that, he's so smart and so well prepared that he can make up for all the deficiencies where you go like, it's not there. But when it's not, when he doesn't have that, all of a sudden you go, oh man, I can't believe I didn't see this. His arm is broken, and it's like one or the other. There's no, so if he gets that back, maybe Michael Thomas plays, maybe he and Emmanuel Sanders just get on the same page. Maybe Alvin Kamara just puts the team on his back, straps him on, puts him in his backpack and carries him all the way there. But the Detroit Lions their defense doesn't really pose much of a threat here.
Yeah, but at the same time, like at some point, like if you know that Breeze can't throw the ball past 10 yards downfield, it really limits what the other opponent offense can do against you. Like, I don't know. That's the tricky part.
That's a very fair point. I think I want to lay off this game.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Detroit, I'm off Detroit this week. So.
Good. Cleveland goes to Dallas. Dallas, man, they've had an interesting few weeks, huh? Like, very interesting. I have Dallas favored by 5.5 at home, and I think this is going to be short.
I said it was going to be 6. It's actually 5.
Oh, interesting.
So
I will take Dallas.
Yeah, the total here is 56 is humongous, I think, for a game like this. Because Cleveland, I could see both teams. So, big fan of McCarthy, but I could see a little bit of pushback from the whole idea of if you're pedal to the metal all the time, you're playing 38, 31 games, you make it a coin flip. I don't want to make it a coin flip. I want to bloody these people's nose, right? I think Cleveland wants to play that way, 100%. Dallas probably does too. Does 56 seem too high?
It does. Yeah. But I'm not betting an under in this.
Not in this
year of our Lord 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. That was basically my only issue.
Trevon Diggs looked terrible today.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my only issue.
Dak Prescott playing really well.
Yeah.
I think Dak Prescott's really good.
I think they run away with the division still.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough to say, but like I think they run away with the division.
That division is atrocious.
It's not good.
Oh my God! Relegate them all.
Yeah, it's not good
with the Jets. Actually, no. Keep Dallas.
You should just like put them in a division with the Jets.
Ooh. Yeah, take the Cowboys out, move the Jets in. And then the loser of that is relegated. Yep. Man, those games.
Emphasis on loser.
Jacksonville goes to Cincinnati. They come here. Gardner Minshew is going to be in town. Maybe we'll get him to show up, hang out. Probably not. Joe Burrow just continues to cover like the stud that he is. Undefeated against the spread as an NFL quarterback.
Yep. 2-0-1.
2-0-1.
They pushed it against the Chargers. It's +3.
Undefeated.
Oh yeah. You said it right. I was just.
It's late, early, whatever. I have them as 2.5-point favorites over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
They're 3, and the only reason I know that is because I saw it earlier. So
what do you think?
I cheated. About that? I would take Jacksonville +3, +105 is where I'm seeing it. I think Jacksonville. Here's the thing. Jacksonville, when things are clicking, can actually move the football well enough to give the Bengals some fits. And I think the Bengals show a lot of promise, but I don't know if they're consistent enough to be like, I'm going to lay points with this team.
Yeah. I've sworn an oath to not bet against Joe Burrow.
But what about Gardner Minshew? Isn't that like a similar?
No. Did you see him on Thursday?
Yeah, but did you see Burrow like half of Joe Burrow's quarters have been awful, and half have been great.
Yeah, but he has an offensive line that's playing 3 people.
Yeah, and they'll take those 3 people over to the stadium next week. Paul Brown Stadium.
Yeah, I just have a loyalty to Joe.
So, I respect that.
But I do think this is a good bounce back spot for the Jaguars because Minshew's not that bad. They were missing DJ Chark very clearly. They have C.J. Henderson played by far his worst game. He's played really well, and that little running back is a huge upgrade over Fournette.
He's great.
All right. Indy goes to Chicago. Now, this was the best quote of the day. Matt Nagy, heroic win. He's on his way to the press conference. He gets a tap on the shoulder. It's Ryan Pace. Nagy's heart just sinks, and Pace goes. Pace goes, Matt, I'm not sure yet.
and the collective angst of an entire fan base.
I'm not sure I'm ready to let go of Mitch Trubisky yet. Okay. So it's got to be Foles. There's no way they can put Trubisky back in there.
Which I think makes this a good game, by the way.
Although, if you sit Trubisky now, can you ever put him back in, or is this it? Is this the last we've seen?
Yes, dude. I mean, Trubisky owes the Bears way more than the Bears owe Trubisky anything.
But what about his psyche? I mean, this dude was like a wounded duckling. They had to turn off the television.
As somebody who watched the 2013 Minnesota Vikings start Christian Ponder for 3 games, fake an injury, called it a rib injury, to start Matt Castle, and then when Matt Castle struggled, signed Josh Freeman off the street, put him in, watch him go 20 for 65 in a Monday night game, then put Ponder back in, and then take Ponder out, and then put Ponder. When you're a bust of a first-round quarterback, the team owes you nothing.
Yeah, sure.
When they give you starts, you say, yes, sir, 3 bags full. That's what Trubisky needs to be saying to the Bears here. Yeah. You go with Foles. Foles is better. He's still not very good. This team's not going to be much more than an 8 or 9 win team. Yeah. But at least you're sitting on a wave of good variance right now.
Hammer it.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Double
right.
on the 11.
I guessed before Foles came in, so that with Trubisky, they would be 2.5 point underdogs at home to the Colts.
Yeah, I said 4, and it's 3.
Okay.
And juiced 3. So they're begging you to bet Indy at -3.
I don't think I want to.
I don't know what to make of Indianapolis because they haven't played a good team yet. I mean, your schedule so far has been the Jags, who you lost to, despite outgaining them by like 200 yards, the Vikings, who stink, and the Jets, who are not an NFL football team. Would the Jets beat Mississippi State? Could the Jets cover Kylan Hill out of the backfield? I don't think so.
I mean, Costello would set the record again.
I'm telling you, right?
They're an atrocity.
They might be able to beat Oklahoma, but then transitive property, they struggle against Kansas State.
All right, we're on to Arizona, Carolina. In Carolina, Kyler Murray throwing the football was not pretty today, but he continues to be impossible to tackle when he runs the ball, which is great to see. They are what was I going to say? Oh,
he still went under his rushing prop, by the way, which we talked about on the show, because Detroit does that thing where they don't pressure the quarterback. Yeah. And actually, they got some pressure today. It was crazy.
The public loving Kyler Murray as a fantasy quarterback, juicing up his props were awesome. All right, I have Carolina getting 3.5 at home. I'm probably short here, aren't I?
Nope.
No.
Carolina is getting 3.5 at home.
Look at that. Every once in a while, you get something right.
I don't. Okay. So.
Oh, you're going to. This is the part of the podcast where you convinced me to take Teddy Bridgewater. There's one of these every single Sunday night.
But is Arizona that much better than Carolina?
Oh, my God. Carolina
assume home field advantage 2 points this year.
Carolina's
is Arizona 5.5 points better than Carolina? No. It's the same reason they weren't 6 points better than Detroit. Well, the 3 points better than Detroit plus home field advantage.
I think Carolina's really bad.
They don't even play Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, he's struggling.
They play Devondre Campbell, who wasn't even good enough to stick on the Falcons defense, George.
Well,
Budda Baker's getting thumb surgery tomorrow. Their corners are bad. Yeah. It's not. Look, Bridgewater does a really good job of just getting the ball out of his hands. He's like a John Stockton out there.
Sure, but counterpoint, Kyler Murray could run for 200 yards in this game.
Maybe.
So Carolina has no defense.
They only surrendered 18 points today?
Herbert.
16 points, actually.
Yeah.
But Herbert's, I mean...
Hopkins is going to have like 150 yards in this game.
Okay. Well, you can lay off it. I don't care.
Yeah, what?
No, I think, look, if this thing gets to 4.5, I'll take it. I don't know if 3.5 is my buy number right now.
Yeah, I could be convinced. Robbie Anderson, by the way, is a good receiver. And it's hilarious that the Jets are just like, yeah, whatever.
Look, we don't need him.
Oh, my God. Poor Trevor Lawrence. All right, Atlanta, Green Bay. Green Bay dominant with the quarterback play of Aaron Rodgers, highest graded quarterback in the NFL. Not surprising.
He was good. He was good.
I don't know who will be coaching Atlanta. Who's taking over for Dan Quinn?
Yeah, this is not fun to talk about. We like them.
I like the Falcons. I've always liked the Falcons.
Yeah. Look.
What are the chances that Dan Quinn is the coach for this game?
For this game?
Yeah. Because it's non-zero. And I'll tell you why.
Well,
Julio Jones didn't play in this game. Arthur Blank wants to give Dan
it's
Quinn
Arthur Blank's birthday today, by the way. Or they lost. Yesterday was his birthday.
Dear Lord.
Here's my thing. I think it's a coin flip.
Wow. You think it's a coin flip?
And the only reason I don't think it's higher on the fired Dan Quinn thing is that he's not already fired. Like,
yeah,
dude,
true.
this is
had
like
to survive this long.
This is you walk in and say, again? And you're like,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I have Green Bay favored by 6.5 at home. I know this is gonna be.
I was gonna say 7. It's lower than that, actually.
What? You mean I haven't screwed myself into betting Atlanta? This is fantastic.
Yeah, I already laid a pretty decent. Yeah, it's Green Bay -6.
What a great day
at Lambeau.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'm not betting the Falcons. I'll tell you that.
I mean, Green Bay this might be a chalky, square week for us. But right now, I find myself liking San Francisco -5.5, Green Bay -6, and the Jags +3.
Okay.
Were there any others that you liked?
I like New England a lot.
New England +7. Yeah, I'm not. My Chiefs though.
Next up, the Los Angeles Clippers of Anaheim are in Tampa Bay facing Tom Brady and a rejuvenated Gronkowski. Godwin may be out, hammy. Tampa Bay I have as an 8.5 point favorite.
Yes, it's 6.5. It's 7.
I like your 6.5, and here's why. The Chargers have like playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, and the Bucs they don't appear to be a cohesive unit yet. So, you know, I don't know, but it's Herbert, or maybe Tyrod makes a recovery.
Tyrod's probably not going to play, from what I read. The hard part with the Chargers is that the Tampa Bay defense is actually pretty good, and so unfortunately, if you go Chargers, you're hoping that Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who's banged up again today, can overcome that, and I just. So I would lay off this game. I think 7's too many for a Tampa Bay team that hasn't proved a whole lot yet. But
maybe Jeff Driscoll, Jack Driscoll, I was gonna call him. Incredible. What a disaster.
Jack me quick. Yeah. So that's yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty impressed with Mike Evans' line today.
Yeah, two catches, 2 touchdowns.
Come on.
So what do we got?
Tom Brady, by the way, is playing really well. So that's one of the. At some point, I do believe it clicks for the Bucs.
Yeah, and it kind of did today. I mean, they knocked the quarterback out of the game. They covered first half over, which our colleague Ben Brown wrote, and they also, they put the clamps on at the end. Now, again, I don't think that. Look, I don't think much of Herbert. So I don't think that there's that much of a difference between Driscoll, Rippon, and Herbert against a really good defense.
It's Rippon. My God.
Yeah.
Good. If it's Rippon, and it stays at this number.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Seattle in Miami to face Fitzpatrick. I believe that the Miami Dolphins will be getting 7.5 at home.
Oh, you were pretty good. I said 10, and it is 7.
So you like Seattle here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there.
They're asking you to bet Seattle though. -7 about even money here.
Who wins the MVP this year?
It's really hard. So it's really hard to come off of. It's really hard to come off of priors. But here's what I'll say: Lamar wasn't the MVP at this time last year. Mahomes wasn't the MVP at this time in 2018. It was Breeze. So if I look at what's going on here with Seattle at 3-0, it really does help. It gets a lot harder for them. I mean, so Dolphins is an easy game. Home to Vikings. The Vikings haven't won in Seattle since 2006. At Cardinals is tricky. Home to Niners is tricky. At Bills, at Rams, and then Cardinals again before they start to get some easy teams. They finish here with Eagles, Giants, Jets, football team.
16-0.
And then Rams, Niners at the end. I'm gonna say he has to be the favorite, but the next 6 weeks are really important. If they come out of the next 6 weeks in second place in the NFC West, and let's say Kansas City's undefeated by then, I think then there's or Baltimore. Tonight's a big night, for that race. I think it's far more tied to team success than people believe.
I agree.
So I would say he's the favorite, but I don't think it's overwhelmingly so.
I agree with you. I think Aaron Rodgers has...
And Aaron Rodgers, too. I mean, he's played phenomenally. Honestly, surpassed all expectations we had of him.
Right now, Russell Wilson's the favorite. I think at the end of the season, Aaron Rodgers will be the MVP. Here's the reason I think it will be the case. The narrative is so important. And Aaron Rodgers is out there today with Alan freaking Lazard. The Lazard King is out there. He had no Devontae Adams.
He was great.
Russell Wilson is great. He's phenomenal. He's dropping dimes left and right. But he has DK Metcalf, who's a superhuman freak. Tyler Lockett, another great receiver. Those two guys are awesome, Yeah. And I think ultimately Aaron Rodgers is doing more with less. So I'm going with Aaron Rodgers, highest graded quarterback in the NFL currently. Okay, let's run through what I have as 3 of the worst games in the history of the NFL. Baltimore goes to Washington. I don't know if you could put a high enough number here. I have Washington at home getting 14.5.
Yeah, what did I have it? I had it at 13.5. I figured Washington would fucking come to play for once.
Yeah, no. What is it at?
I saw it at 14.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's no way I'm betting Washington.
And shaded towards Ravens, -115 towards Ravens.
Dwayne Haskins is going to have a rough game here. There's no way he's ready for this defense.
Is this just something you lay right now because it's at the key number and it's like there's not going to be any Washington football team money unless like Lamar gets hurt, right?
Yeah. I mean, RG3 could beat this team by 14.
I mean, he has before, like a number of times.
The next game I have is the New York Football Giants in Los Angeles playing the Rams. I thought the Giants would at least pretend to play football today. They did not. So I had the Rams as an 8.5-point favorite.
I said it was 10.
And what is it, 12?
11.5.
Yeah. The Giants are bad.
The Rams have a really so we talked about this early on the show today. The Rams kind of came out flat today, and a lot of it was because you look at the 2-0 unexpected underdogs in both. They got
West Coast,
some
East Coast,
easy ass scheduling right now, right? And they're starting to come on their easy part of their schedule. This is again part of the Russell Wilson deal is that there's a bunch of easy games for LA coming up, and this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could lay the points here with Goff, but and their defense showed some warts today. I mean, Buffalo's a good offense, but that doesn't mean
this could be the Aaron Donald lights the world on fire game.
Right.
Just throwing that out there because Daniel Jones likes to fumble the football, and Aaron Donald likes to destroy quarterbacks. An interesting combination. This is one of those situations too where the fact that the Rams are a star-studded defense, I don't think hurts them as much. Because there's just like who's taking advantage of
who's
that.
going to actually do. Yeah.
Okay. I saved the worst game truly in the history of the NFL for last. The Denver Broncos are playing the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. It's a bummer that game 1 of the NBA Finals is on Wednesday because I would love to have something to do other than be focused solely on this game. But
let me.
What a travesty this game is.
Well, so you're in luck. Well,
I am.
No, actually,
Why, they canceled the game?
No, the storm actually swept the Lynx, so that 2BD WNBA game is no longer in play. There is literally nothing. There's going to be a college football game on that's going to be totally.
I'm sure the Masked Singer is on, and I can watch that. I have the Jets as a 3-point underdog at home.
Yeah, I said it would be like 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a line, right?
Currently 3, I see.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what I saw earlier, and then it moved to 2.5. So there is some money coming in on the Jets again.
Great. I just couldn't care. Okay, what are your favorites?
Let's say if I had to pick 3, and I'm going to be pretty chalky, I think, with them. I'm going to go Jacksonville, Green Bay, San Francisco.
Okay.
See, the reason I didn't pick Seattle is I've seen this game out of the Seahawks before. They lost at home outright to Arizona last year, even though Tyler Huntley was playing. Brett Hundley, sorry. Tyler Huntley's a different quarterback.
He is.
I can see a letdown for Seattle.
Okay.
Miami's off of a long break, all that kind of stuff. I don't like New England just because with Kansas City, it's just like half the sample paths are boat races. So it's tough, right?
I love New England.
I don't know if this
7?
does this number get bigger after tonight? That's my only concern is like, this is supposed to pick out value, right? And I feel like this number gets bigger after tonight.
You do.
Yeah. Is there anything the Chiefs could do tonight that somebody would take from it and say, wow, the way that the Patriots run their offense is conducive to beating up the Chiefs? Maybe. The quarterback running is a thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like you could get this at 7.5, 8 after tonight.
I don't know about that.
Whereas I think Jacksonville you can get at 3.5.
They would have to beat Baltimore decidedly, I think.
Okay. But here's the deal. 7's still not that good of a number, right? You're not getting the push probability is a little bit
You
there.
really are just leaking red and orange. This game better go your way tonight or you're going to be in a pit of misery.
But here's the deal. So right now at Jacksonville, I believe you can get 3.5 if you really want it. You can get 3.5 on Jacksonville, which is a good number. Basically, you're taking 2 bad teams. No home field advantage for Cincinnati, really. I mean, there is. Don't quote me
having to come here is a burden.
Yeah. But Jacksonville's coming off of a 10 days rest.
Yeah. Okay.
San Francisco's a great number. 5.5.
Yeah, I love San Francisco.
And then Green Bay at 6. I mean, look, at some point in time we have to
What do you think about Buffalo?
-2.5 at Raiders. You know, I don't hate it. So you in lieu of what? Or do you just want to put 4 on there?
No, maybe we press a little bit. I'm just disappointed that you don't like Cam Newton getting 7 points.
I can see why you like it.
The floor is high. Cam Newton's floor is high.
I don't think so.
Chiefs can't cover anybody. What do you mean you don't think so? You think he's going to get hurt? Because
I think
healthy Cam Newton's floor is high.
Yeah, but he's still not the most accurate quarterback in the world. He still has only one good wide receiver to throw to. Their offensive line isn't the greatest in the world.
Chiefs still can't
And their
cover.
secondary is still their secondary has been pressed in one game so far this year and were annihilated. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Chiefs will be coming off of, if you're correct, a victory against the Ravens on Monday night.
I mean, we do double or nothing on the steak dinner.
That's right.
Since I lost.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's right. I won a
lost
steak
New
dinner
Orleans.
tonight.
Yeah, New Orleans.
What a
minus 3 was
beautiful
sharp.
day.
It was a sharp bet. It went all the way.
What a beautiful day. It was a sharp bet. You can have the sharp bet.
Yeah,
I'll take the
I can
sharp
eat
knife to eat my steak
Well, what's
with.
the say? I can eat the closing line value with a fork. Like it's like the. But yes, you won. So we could go double or nothing and just bet that straight up.
I hate betting against Patrick Mahomes, but I'll do that for you.
Okay. So what if we said San Francisco, you're Niners.
People can go watch or go read the article.
Okay.
So we got to figure it out. Anyways, that's our show. It's too late for us to go on any longer. You keep looking. Oh, there I am.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys had a wonderful week 3 and enjoy the game tonight. Peace out.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.